Hello, hello, hello. I'm gonna do live. Give me a second. My headset cord's caught up in something. Anyway, you all know I've posted the other videos, and I'm having a lot of trouble with YouTube processing videos. So anyway, I said, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do them live, and I'll edit the video afterwards and do what needs to be done. Maybe that will help. I don't know. So you can always come back and look at it, what the aspects are, where the planets are. We know that right at this moment in time that I'm doing this, the eclipse is kind of shady here where I'm at. So I'm in South Carolina on the East Coast, so it's already having some of that impact of 70 to 80% of the solar eclipse. Remember, the sun is exalted in Aries. Okay, there's an exaltation here. Venus, if you're watching the eclipse right now, it's at that point in the cross where it came in 2017. It's in Arizona, Carbondale, Carbondale, Illinois. So it's in that cross space where it came across in 2017. So now it is crossing over where the path of 2017. It's going to be in total eclipse there in Illinois, in Carbondale, Illinois, for 4 minutes and 10 seconds, I believe it is. This is longer. It's staying longer than the one in 2017. With this being, I do want to say it's all at 19 degrees. The moon's at 19 degrees. The sun is at 19 degrees. Chiron's at 19 degrees. And I'm going to show it to you in the astrology thing in just a minute. And this is all, there's conjunctions, moon, sun, Chiron, and the north node is here. So this, remember, we always say that the new moon, which is exactly that, it's the new moon, is a new beginning. It's a new start. But this is different than your regular new moon. Okay? This is, because remember at new moons, it's kind of dark. The moon is not illuminated yet. It's in its beginnings of its waxing. It's just coming out of its waning, so it's dark. And so as it travels between the earth and the sun, it's in that just beginning of the new moon, where it will cross this path. I look at this as the whole time it passes, ever since it was in Arizona, I've been seeing how it's shadowy outside, and the effects that it's having here. So I know it's having some impact here. So I do want to say on this new moon, it's a new initiation. This is where we need to recommit our actions and our behavior in a way that, with Venus and Jupiter also being shown in this, of working toward expansion and growth in ourselves, work on our rededication, our recommitment to what we want to heal in the future. Finally closing up those wounds and healing them for the future. Rededicate ourselves. If you're if you're a believer like I am, it's my time for rededication to the divine. My recommitment and you may hear a lot about this total eclipse having the diamond ring. So it's kind of like, you know, when you get that engagement, that ring, and it shows that the diamond of the ring, it's sort of, that reminds me of, kind of just hit me like, yeah, this is where, you know, I'm committing to something here. I'm devoting myself to the future of being more healthy, working toward having a more healthier life, more simpler life, and rededicating to my goals, my devotion to things, to my wishes, my hopes, and all this. So, and there's still something here with Pluto for you guys. But I'll talk about it as well. That's, you know, there's a deterrent here in some way, because of the third house being ruled by Mercury. In your case, it's Aquarius, so it's Saturn, and Saturn rules Aquarius as well, and it's in Pisces. Saturn is. So I'll talk about that, and how there may be some limits, because Pluto's getting ready to go to 2 degrees, and when it hits that 2 degrees mark, it's going to go retrograde. Now, the biggest thing too I want to talk about on this total eclipse of rededication to the future and the healing, Mercury is retrograde during this, and I don't remember back then if it was retrograde or not, but it's retrograde. It's moving back to that 15 degrees where exactly the North Node sits right now. And it's waiting for Mercury to come back, for you to revisit something here that I had been telling the other signs before you guys, that it has to do something around that March the 16th through the 18th. Revisit that time and what it is you need to work on. Maybe things you even going over things, because it's time that we rededicate ourselves to things. Let's go ahead and jump over to the astrology real quick and let you look at it. You can see that all of them is Chiron, the sun, and the moon are all at 19 degrees, but the timing is at 24 degrees. Now, I've been kind of edging forward. I lost my job helping me tell me what to do. It's going to be a sort of difficult month right now until the end of the month. Don't give up hope. Keep yourself dedicated to move forward into the future. I guess person, just got person up there, okay. I take it you're either, because this is for Sagittarius sun, but it's also for Sagittarius ascending. Since it's general and I don't know everybody's chart, I can't compare your birth chart with what now the planets are right now. But I do know that with what I'm seeing in all the aspects, they said you stole. Well, if you didn't do it, then I don't know what state you're in. I hope you're not in a right to work state. If you're not in a right to work state, you have a little bit more leverage there. You know, you can't just fire somebody unless you're in a right to work state, because they can fire you for any reason. If they don't even like you, they can let you go. But if you're in a state that's not a right to work state, you have more leverage. They just can't fire you for any reason. They have to have proof of something there. But I know by the end of the month, well, then that's where you can go to your uh, your workman's comp um, area, business or institutes, what I meant to say, because it is a government facility. You know, if they fire you, you're welcome. You know, you're available for unemployment. If they deny it, then you go before a hearing, and they have to prove their case. And as long as they don't have the proof, they may have to reinstate you. And if they don't have none, then it's on them. There's a case there to be reinstated if you want to go back there. But it could be kind of a hostile action as well. But I do want to let you know, opportunities are going to get better toward the end of April, and we'll see what happens in May. Well, that's good. That's good. So right now, I'd be applying for unemployment. Like I said, I don't know if you work in a right-to-work state or what state you're from, but they do have, labor laws, and wherever they're at, if you're, in my case, I live in South Carolina, so it's a right-to-work state, so they don't really have to have a reason to fire you. They can just not like you and say, well, you're not working, it's not going well. If they don't like your personality, they can think of reasons to let you go. But anyway, I do want to tell everybody, subscribers, if you are already subscribed, please give a thumbs up for the video, that, liking the videos. You can share the links to others as well on these. Also, by hitting that thumbs up and hitting that like button, you're helping me to grow the channel, because the more that they put that out there, the more likes there are, then YouTube's more inclined to put my video out there. So please, I ask you, if you want to support me, you want to support the channel, I don't ask for money. So if anybody comes to you and says anything about money or anything like that, no, I don't ask for money. My way of you to support me is by clicking that thumbs up and getting the channel's awareness out to the public. All right? So, so I ask you to do that. Also, I ask, if you're new, welcome. Please consider joining by subscribing to the channel, and check that. Also, look at the bell and click that, and select as that drop-down menu on there how you want to be notified if I'm going live, if I got new videos posted, or whatever. But always remember, it only takes a few seconds to go in there and hit the like button. You want to help my channel grow? You want to help me? Like I said, if anybody comes to you and says, hey, I'm MJ, and I'm Silver Moon Tarot and Astrology, donate here, or join here, I don't have a membership. I'm not asking you to join, pay a monthly fee. I'm not asking for donations. That's only given for readings, and I have that set up so you'll know if you're given to the right one, okay? All right, so with that all being said, got to get that out there. Like I said, this lunar eclipse, or let's see, where is it at right now? It's over Cleveland, Ohio right now. So it's done past where that X was at from 2019. Now it's moving on up. It's still a little shady, I would say. It's weird, So but I can handle that. But like I said, here in South Carolina on the East Coast, ever since this hit the last place, or the beginning of Arkansas, I think it was, it kind of got shady here. I won't call it shady. I will say dim, like somebody dimmed the lights down. So anyway, but I want you to see this. So I feel like this is really, 19 is a number. I'm a numbers person myself. I always have been. But the sun is exalted here. And I want you to see here with the ascending. Now, I haven't done this with some of the early ones, except for I think Libra and Scorpio I might have done this with, but I want to show you when I say the ascending, all right, this is exactly where it is on the horizon and what is ascending, what is coming up. So if you are a Sagittarius, say a child would be born right now with the ascending moving, coming up above the horizon, they would have Sagittarius, no, they would have a Aries sun. No, yeah, Aries sun, but they would have ascending Leo, so their sun would be very exalted. They would have a Leo ascending. But I want you to see what's on the horizon, what is coming up for you. And this is where that lot of fortune and where it's happening at. It's happening in your ninth house, house of faith, house of freedom, house of adventure, things you see. You're looking at things, you're focusing on something here. And all this is happening in this total eclipse here is in your fifth house, which deals with love affairs, love attachment, romantic attachment, your self-expression, how you express yourself in your outer life or to other people, in love, how you express those feelings you have, what you need in love or what you need in relationship. Also, it's dealing with children, arts and drama and creativity, and also pleasure and play. And there could be some speculation in this house as well, but it's dealt with by Aries. So this is Aries being that sign of where action is being taken in some way. So if there's something that your children are something that you love, and for you guys, Sagittarius, this fourth house all the way to your sixth house has to deal with your family. And a lot of times we like to keep family and things like that in a private sort of, I don't want to say bubble, but we don't let too many people know about our family lives or our relationships. We don't really want to talk about them too much, or where there may be some difficulties. Some people will, but only to those who they have the closest relationships with, and they have a close relationships to the family. So all this energy is focused in the house of family, you and family. Your ruling planet is Jupiter, which is being shown, Jupiter and Venus, which is in your fifth house, is being shown. It can be seen during this totality of this solar eclipse. And Venus is in that fifth house. It's in Aries. And she is sort of in a detriment, what they would call. Now, when a planet goes into a detriment, what that means, it's opposite the sign of its rulership. And what Venus rules is Libra, but then also Taurus. So she's going, as she transits through Aries, there's sort of a thing where it's detriment, where the energy is weak, it's negative, it's repressed. Family may feel this, just you, if you're still here, the person that has the name person I was just talking to and showing, you're going to have some feelings here that you're going to feel possibly, or your family's going to feel, or you may give that feeling out to them that I'm not feeling in the mood to, don't neglect the family. I'll say that. Don't neglect the family. Don't neglect those personal ties. Lean on those people for support in this time that you're going through. It's very big right now in this new moon. Right now is the time for you to work on the healing. In your case, person, it would be, your job loss. If it's a relationship, if there's trouble with in the home life, is try to heal. It's time to take that action. Do what you can do to heal wounds from the past. And do it in a way, a lot of times when I'm dealing with things, I try to ask, what would my Savior do? What would he have done if he was here today? How would he handle a dispute? Well, one thing is first is if I've done some harm, I'm sorry. Ask for forgiveness. There's nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, that's a part of growth, expansion. And for you, you're a mutable sign. There could be some excuse me a minute. I've got to. All of a sudden, it has gotten really, really warm in here. It's supposed to be 80 degrees here today in South Carolina. Woo, hot. But your Jupiter, your ruling planet, is kind of in that same degree, and it's being shown and during this lunar eclipse, and it's about through improvement or growth, you're kind of shaking the world up in a way. You're shaking, you're learning a growth. This is sort of a growth period. You're going into this new beginning of growth. Where your daily routines, you may have some value with those there. It's over what you have, because Taurus rules your sixth house. Sixth house is all about those daily routines in relationships. God almighty, is it hot in here? Give me just a minute. I'll be right back. Give me a minute. I am so sorry I had to turn the fan on behind me. I hope the fan, let me know if you can hear that fan and it's disrupting anything in the sound. But this is, like I said, it's initiation of a new beginning. It's where you're going to commit to something here, or not. Things you may be making these big changes. Because there is something here where when this Jupiter, your ruling planet, of growth and faith and that higher mind, that awareness, right now it's squaring this, where there may be some success if you can overcome whatever the challenge is. I would say the possibilities here of success are really, really good. This is going to end today, whatever this square is. So I feel like there's good news. There's 17 for me represents a number of victory, success. And you have what we call the lot of fortune. It's called lot of fortune, part of fortune, but it's where there's this opportunity with the sun being exalted here and the trions to here, that you can succeed at something. Having the courage to take a stance, to stand up for yourself in some way, can prove to be very fortunate for you. You just got to keep the faith. Don't let yourself feel like I can't do anything. Don't talk yourself down, Sagittarius. You need to rise up and adapt to something here and say, okay, this is what's going on in my life. Yes, there's some stumbling blocks here, but how you deal with this is going to show what you are like on the inside. It will show your courage. It will show your strength. That you stand up as that lion with that courage. And you say, no, this is not going to beat me. I'm not going to let this get me. And adapt to something here. Okay? You do have a couple of spots here with this mid Lilith. I don't use the black moon Lilith. I use the mid Lilith due to its let me bring this up because I brought it up in the others. You can kind of see the definition of it because I really don't want to keep repeating it every time. But we all have that inner shadow. And so where we deal with things in life, but it's also in areas where you put your foot down and you're going to set boundaries and say, and now you can, normally, I don't like to express anger unless I'm pushed to the point where I'm in a corner. And then I will fight my way out of it. And I will take my authority back. So, and I refuse to go along with just the norm in society. I'm often referred to as a stigmata female feminine energy. There are stigmata male energies as well. Those don't go with the grain. They're not alpha, they're not beta, they're not looking for the attention, they're not looking for the notoriety, or they don't follow along with others. A sigma feminine or masculine energy goes their own way, their own path. They don't kind of, they're really dedicated to whatever their goal may be setting for them. They don't have a problem working alone. They don't have a problem working with others. But they're going to not follow everything that everybody else is, unless it's for the betterment of the group. If they're in a group position, yeah, it may go along with what the group, if it's going to benefit everyone as a whole. Okay? But what I want to say here is go back to, with this Mercury energy, it was at 27 degrees, and it's done only moved 3 degrees, and it's at 24, where really all this was at 24 degrees when it first started in its first stages of totality, when it first came onto land. This morning, when it was, first initial of the total eclipse, it was all 19 degrees, 24 degrees, and that tells me something here is divine. It's divine energy. It's not, what's going on here with this eclipse, this is not man controlled. It's not government controlled. No government can control what is happening here. This was already set up a long time ago. All the way back to ancient times. You know it in history. We've had lunar eclipse. We've had solar eclipse. But this type of eclipse is not going to happen in the United States again for 20 years, 20 to 21 years. So we're looking at 2040 or 2044 to 2045, I think, somewhere in there. So if you go 20 years from now, it would be 2024 to 2025 is when this will cross the United States again. Where? I don't know. I ain't looked at it. I hadn't gone that far. Even though we would be able to go that far and look through software where something, we can actually see it. So I don't know where it's going to be, but this is not going to happen again. I mean, we're going to have total lunar eclipses. We're going to have total solar eclipses, whatever, but they're not going to be this kind. This is unusual to the one that happened 7 years ago. There's a specific meaning here that we need as human beings to rededicate ourselves to our spirituality, where maybe we didn't, maybe we weren't. But this is a chance that where things are going to happen and we may see miracles going on. Now, the other thing I want to show here is these lunar eclipse that's here. I don't deal with the ones that deal with the eclipses, what they call the true nodes, south and north nodes. I deal with the mean nodes. And what these are is about an individual's life path, their personal growth, karmic lessons that need to be learned from the past. Because the past is what we know. In the future, what's coming is subjective. I can look at the astrology and I can say this is going to be here in this house, in this house, in this house. But I don't know what's going on with everyone. I don't know. I'm not a psychic. I don't claim to be one. But I can see where that north node is, and I do see that that's the path we're supposed to be on toward our future and being dedicated to what it is and our hopes and our wishes and our dreams to accomplish in the future, and not letting people say, well, you can't do that. Somebody tells me something like that, and I'm like, don't tell me that I can't accomplish something. I'll find a way. Because there's that mentality of a lot of stuff I've learned is through reading. It's self-taught through reading, through knowledge, seeking information, seeking the right information. I can listen to people speculate, but I got to look at their history. I got to look at their background. I got to look at this and say, okay, is this person a credible person with information that's going to help me learn something? And that's basically where you grow, where you improve in your life. And so I prefer to use these mean nodes that deal with an individual's life path. And how these areas with the lot of fortune, which with that deals with, which I talked about a minute ago, but I'll put that up there as well, what its meaning is. A part of fortune is all this astrological chart in your birth chart that is calculated mathematical based on the positions of the sun, the moon, and the ascending. Now, with it being right now of healing and victory, having success in something here, you can see success going to come. Because these are dealing with, you're a fire sign. The 1st, 5th, and 9th house deals with your life. And the 9th house deals with your relationship with others. From the 7th to the 9th house, where you have balance with someone, is what you're getting what you desire, and they're getting what they desire. You're equally here on the scale. And that what you're seeing, and you're both seeing the same thing of where you want to head in the future. That something here can be successful. So I look at that. And right now it's showing me that y'all can be very successful in healing in your life. But you got to look at your past actions where something might have been out of balance in your life. Like the person here that says person, okay, that I was talking about. Last thing they said, this person here, they're looking at something in success. Maybe there was something with this job that wasn't meant for them. Maybe there's, I always look at it this way in my life. when something doesn't work, whether it be relationship, job, careers, or something here that's not working, I feel like there's a reason that it's going out of my life, because it's not meant to be there for me in the future, because there's always something better for me coming. If the relationship comes back, it's like that dove, okay? Like you set it free in a relationship or something here. You just let whatever you feel, you set it free. And you find that peace. And if it's meant to come back as that dove with an olive branch, then it's meant to come back. If it's not, then it's not going to come back at all. Always kind of use the analogies of scripture as well, where Noah sent the crows out, never came back. Sent the one dove out, didn't come back. But the last time he sent it out, and he finally let it go, and he finally released and said, okay, if it comes, it comes. It doesn't, it doesn't. I'll just be patient and wait for what is meant for me. And the dove came back with an olive branch. So if you look at things in sort of a positive way, whatever's going on right now for you, there is healing. There's expansion and growth and victory on the horizon in your life, in your outer life, okay? And I see that this is going to be taking place as the sun moves. It'll be something, a sliver of something will be going on toward the end of the month. I feel like things get better to a degree. And things seem to have a sort of improvement, but don't let yourself think or feel. Enjoy the moment that things are getting better, is what I want to say. Because this solar eclipse, whatever's going on, this solar eclipse, I almost was thinking lunar, is going to last for some years on the other future solar eclipses that are taking place until the next ones come. So for 4 years, 3.5, somewhere along in there. Some people say 2.5 to 3 years. I'm looking at the length of this eclipse, where it's total. In most places, it's been like a little over 4 minutes. So I'm looking at possibly 4 years that this is going to have an impact over the next 4 years toward those future solar eclipses that are going to happen. That we got to make changes. I mean, we're in judgment time. We've got to make the changes in our lives. Everybody, you ask anybody out there, and they're going to say, this world can't keep going the way it's going. Something's got to change. Something's got to give here. And we've been talking for years. I know 4 years back, I've been talking about this eclipse for 4 years to 3 years. I've been talking about it. And it's coming. And I kept saying to people, they would say, MJ, when is my life going to change? When is my life going to change? Everybody's life was changing at a different time. And I was still saying that. When are things going to change? And it has begun for me. So this is where I can rededicate myself in my faith, in my family, in my goals, making my life a lot more simplified, to be happy, to live a gratifying, satisfying life, and forgetting about everything that's really not important. Because Lord knows, and I'm looking at this right now, and you can see right here, the day is Monday, ruled by the moon. That's how I always tell what day it is, because I have my astrology chart open all the time, and I can see the day and then the hour. So it's ruled by the moon, and the day is ruled by the moon, and it's the 8th hour. It's about life. This particular hour that's going on right now, when I started this, is about life, your life, all of our lives. To release and change our heart. Do not go out in this world with a hardened heart. That will not serve you. It will do you no good. You got to have a good heart. And this is the time in your life, and this is definitely about your family life, your personal, private life. And this, like I said, this is going to end today. And it's how you handle this day, this time, this hour, and for the rest of this day. How are you going to overcome the challenges? Because that's what squares are. There's challenges. And it's going to show how you handle them and how you overcome them, what type of person you are. Now, I did say something about, as you can see over here, I do have the pool of events that are taking place, and I do have Mercury at 15 degrees. And I did say Mercury is a big part of this. So it's time to rethink your spirituality, your devotion. What are you devoting yourself to? Are you devoting something here in your family? Or are you devoting yourself to loving, compassion, children, maybe even your parents? Somewhere in here for the future, and healing relationships within the family. Now, you may have difficulty, and I'm going to say this, but my philosophy on that, and this is my philosophies on it, if you're trying to heal something with family, and they don't want to heal it, or they're still wanting to be I don't want to say really harmful, or taking harmful actions, like saying lies about you, or deception, or something here, or they're lying to you, or not giving you all the information, and these sort of things, hiding those things that are harmful. When information or actions, somebody's actions are being hidden, then that's not good. And with Saturn here in conjunction with Mars, this is called malefic. That means it has an evil intent or an evil effect, and can be something harmful. There's this link to Pluto here, because Mars and Pluto rule your 12th house. And your 12th house in Scorpio, if you do something here to seek revenge, because let me tell you something, I've experienced some pain for the last 7 years. I went through the life of hell because I know what Pluto can do. And where Pluto was at in my house, in my chart. And it was changing me. And in a way, I'm thankful for it, because it had me look at things in reality. Looking at people for who they really were, that were out to hurt me or harm me or lie about me or whatever it was. It was like, it's kind of like what's going on in the media right now. You know, you hear a lot of things about one party doing one thing but accusing the other party of doing it. That's what's been going on in my life for 7 years. Everything they try to accuse me of, they're doing. So or they were doing. And I could have went out and really seek vengeance. Oh man, I could have put the whole daggum truth out there and really blown them away. But I didn't do that. I did not do that because it's not me to seek revenge. And there's a good thing in Scripture, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And I told my mother, I said, there's nothing I can do to them that will harm them or hurt them that God himself would not do. There's nothing I could do that could match what God would do. Because he saw what was going on. He knew what was going on. And believe you me, in that 7 years, I have seen miracle after miracle after miracle happen in my life, and you can too. But you've got to change your heart. You've got to change your something about yourself. And this was a time in my life at 65 years old that I was changing myself. And here we go. Totally brand new. And it took me 7 years of going through hell to realize you can't sit silent anymore. You've got to stand up. You got to say, no, I'm not going to accept that. If I've hurt you, I'm sorry. Was not my intent. And always be honest. You cannot go wrong with honesty. Because remember, if you lie or if you give false statement or all these things that you do, and you're doing it repeatedly and repeatedly, after a while, you're going to get caught in it. You will get caught. Why? Because the mind cannot retain it. But it can retain good information. You ever had where somebody you dealt with a liar who lied and lied and lied, or a narcissist? And after a while, you're going to catch on. Because they can't keep their story straight. So we're going to start seeing, by the end of the month, better things occurring. So remember, and I find this very interesting because today's the 8th, something on March the 18th, between the 16th and the 18th, because it happened to me. There was an incident in my life during that time that, yeah, I'm reviewing it. I'm going back over it. I took care of it then when it came up. And I was not going to argue with somebody. I walked away. I'm not going to deal with this because I already knew the truth. I already knew the truth. And that person did come back. And they knew they were wrong. Did I get an apology? Nah. That's okay. That's okay. I can let that stuff slide off. I try not to hold grudges the best I can. I mean, there's some things that I don't hold as a grudge, but that will cause me not to deal with a person again. Ever. So, remember that, okay? Now, the next thing I want to talk about I want to show you that on April the 1st, Mercury did go retrograde at 27 degrees. It went stationary retrograde. So we're talking about that. Venus on April the 5th, it moved into Aries, where, like I said, it was exalted. It came out of in the house of Pisces. It's exalted. Now it's in detriment. Okay, so it feels. And that was that energy I said where you may feel some weakness or some, you may be repressing some things. Try to not get angry with children or your loved ones or your family. Just be honest about things. Okay? Because this is dealing with this and it's retrograde. And like I said, it's at, 25 degrees is where it was at the beginning. Now, at this eclipse, which is happening today, where we're at, okay, like I said, at 2:20, where these are my times. So these are Eastern Standard Times that I have, so you have to adjust the timing to where you live. I'm on the East Coast, so if you look at New York time, if you're on the West Coast, then you're 3 hours behind me. Okay? So, but right now it's like at 2:20 timing, 51 seconds in. And I can see right now it's already starting to like somebody's turning the dimmer switch back up. So it's, once it gets in Tennessee, Kentucky, I don't know if it will have any effect at all. So, because I get it, moon should be on the backside of me by then, I reckon. I don't know. But we do have some incidences where here we still have the Mars and the Saturn conjunct. These little brown dash lines, it means they're in a quincunx or an inconjunct. Now, look at the term on that, okay? When something's conjunct, as Saturn and Mars is, that means the energies are combined of something maybe within your home, because this is the home. The fourth house is representing the home. Pisces is ruling your fourth house, okay? Its ruler is there, which is Neptune. Neptune is where your spiritual visions you may have, dreams, your creative imagination, and your psychic ability lead you beyond whatever the material world is. You don't think about those things you have. Whereas in your daily life, yes, you got to have money to survive in a daily life, but what can you get by on a lot better? But again, there's something here where these two energies of Mars and Saturn coming together, and their combined energy, there is some conflict that you're going through, because we went through where I saw the ascending and the lot of fortune at 17 degrees. You wanted that victory. Could have been this person that came in the chat and said, I'm going through this, and tell me what to do. Best thing I can tell you to do, don't seek vengeance, but fight the fight. Stand up for the truth. That is the best thing I can tell you to do. If somebody is lying on you and they're creating harm to you and your family and your home life and your ways to support your family, you have got to put your foot down and stand up for yourself. You have to. Because there's something here that's harming the home. Some action. Could be a boss, because Saturn is the authority figure. It can also be, with Saturn, a teacher, a father. And Saturn is where you learn to operate within the limitations of society. You can't just go out there and slap somebody up the face, as Will Smith figured out, because he had to pay for the responsibility. He had to take responsibility for his actions. So for what? For the next decade, he's not allowed to go to the Oscars. It's hurt his career. So you just can't go out and do certain things, even though you would like to. I know that feeling where you would just want to shred somebody apart and cut them below their knees to bring them down a few notches. Do it in the right manner. Like I said, and like whoever this is said that their lawyer. Fight it with the truth, because that's what I did. But you're going to believe in me. You got to have the strength and the courage, and don't let it get the better of you. Those times when I went through what I went through for the last 7 years, I leaned so heavy on my faith, and I saw things happening and happening. Yes, it took time. Yes, it was slow. But there was things that finally came to where peace was brought into my life. I still had to wait. I still had to have patience, but I was able to move forward. So you still need to move forward in whatever your spiritual vision is, or your creative imagination, your psychic ability, whatever dreams. Listen to your dreams. Pay attention to them. Write them down. Write down your visions that you have. Like me, I'm getting ready to do some major changes in my life, and I'm looking at things. I don't see the clutter. Don't see the mess. I see what can be. I actually visualize where, put this here, put that there. I don't see what's there now. I see what the future of what I can do. And but I've got to take the steps to get there. So what is the steps for me to see or fulfill this vision that I have? Okay? And not look at sort of the materially things. Yeah, I can look at things at what I have right now that's paid for, and how hard I worked and what I put, the effort and all that. But I can have better. I can have better. And don't worry about what materially you need. It's what you already have that you can work with, and having the faith in making that vision and dedicating to it spiritually of what you're doing here to accomplish something, your goal, your wishes, or whatever it may be. You can achieve it a lot faster. Things that you need will be provided for you as you move along. So I already know 3 or 4 years ago this was going to happen. Now, what I'm actually starting to move into, because I saw it happening. Especially when I got into the astrology, and I started looking at it, and I thought, okay, this is going to happen then. This is going to happen then. So you're just going to have to be patient. Things got to be done. There's steps got to be done. And Saturn is time. It can delay things. It can kind of slow things down. And that's a good thing. Because with Mars coming into conjunct with Saturn, Saturn's going to slow it down. Because it wants you to look at your past actions and how you handled things. And maybe handle it in a better way. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself in a really bad spot later on. Okay? Because there's an opposition here with this South Node. And like I said, Mercury's coming back to this 15 degrees for you to rethink your future. Remember, like I said, go back to what happened between March the 16th and the 18th. What transpired, what took place, what you may have said, what you may have done, what was said to you, maybe what was done to you. But there's grace within the law. You may be going through some trials and tribulations now from the past, but you're going to learn something from this that's going to help you in the future. That if you have grace right now, during this difficult time that you're going through, and these challenges, about what your goal is here, because Venus is still conjunct with Neptune as she's moving in this. She's relying on a vision. She's relying on a dream. And I've got to say with Neptune, Neptune can create glamour or illusions. But remember, those are negative, because Pisces has a negative condemnation or a negative energy to that constellation. See, every sign has a negative and a positive. Aries has a positive. So if you don't look at the glamour and the illusions of what's there, go for the true information. Just say, give me the facts. What is your opinion of what is? Go search for the truth. Because there's something here in you guys that's dealing with your vision, your goal, your dedication to something here that you're thriving for, and it's in the house or in the declination, the first part of Cancer, in the house of desire, that you desire something here, to feel something here. Because Cancer is all about what we feel. It's ruled by the moon. So is Pisces. The moon has an influence here on the tide, or things that can come up that all of a sudden appears an illusion, or something looks like, yeah, this is glamorous. You know, that's why I said, be careful when you go look at something or create, or you're creating something. Keep it real. Be authentic, and you won't never have any problems. Be honest with yourself and others. Be authentically who you are. And show that to them of what you are capable of doing and what you hold value, where your values lie, what your desires may be. Because this 7th through the 9th house deals with everything in relationship for you. What you think, because Gemini rules your 7th house. What you feel, it rules the house, the 8th house of desire. What you desire or what you feel. Here's what you think. Here's what you feel. And then here is your free will to choose something here. You can choose to learn something about patience and limitations, and how far you can actually go. That time, because there's a quincunx here. This energy combined, you're wanting something now, and you're wanting to know something now, but you've got to have patience, because Saturn is going to slow Mars down. It's going to say, hold on, don't jump ahead of the path. Don't get off the path. I know you want to move. I know you want to do something here, because you're devoted and dedicated to do something here. That's good. But do what you can do with working within limits. Slow down. Don't be in such a hurry. Remember, it was the hare that won the race, not the rabbit. And you will learn some things here that's going to benefit you much, much more in your mind, the expansion and growth in your mind about this conflict that is coming up today. And that's at 1420, which would be 2 o'clock, 2:20, I said. But then the sun on the 19th is going to ingress into Taurus. Now, when it ingresses here, it's going to come in exalted with this energy, because it's been combined with all the other energy that is bringing in with it. It hasn't done anything yet. It hasn't. It's not focused or at the time. But it has to do, this day has to do with, it's going to be on a Friday when it moves in there. It's going to be the moon, it's going to have that effect from the moon, because we're going to be going into the full moon, which will be in your 12th house, which has to deal with karma, has to deal with loss, and lessons you're going to learn. about the conflict that was going on and how it made you feel. And you may have to change some plans. It's okay to reevaluate what they are, because this energy with Saturn is kind of like where Mars was in front of Saturn, coming toward it, lining up with it. It was kind of like Saturn was like, hey, slow down. Let's not rush this. Slow it down. And now that it's surpassing Saturn, okay, it still has, like it's being pulled back by Saturn, holding it back in something in your outer life here. Because there's a T-squared effect here with Mars. This is coming up. Something in your 7th house is ascending that's on the horizon in relationship with something here, or partnership, or something about it, and something with what you think of the other person. Because 7th house is all about other people, or enemies, or open enemies, people that you have an enemy that they don't like you. Why? Some of us ask, why does this person not like me? What have I ever done to them? Or are they just an evil person with evil intent? Because the moon here is going to be in the 2nd decan and in the term belt of Venus. So it's going to be influenced by Venus. The capacity to love. Even love your enemies. Even though you're having conflict with them, I ain't got nothing against you. That's a form of love. I've got nothing against you. And see, the hour is the 3rd hour. Tell me that ain't divine, but it's something here that has to do with Venus that's in opposition. Do not do anything to someone else to take vengeance. I'm saying this because these 3 houses here deal with spirituality. Anytime you seek vengeance on your own and you don't handle it in the right way, which all of us knows what is the right moral way. You got a grievance with a neighbor, you got a grievance with an enemy, you got a grievance with a loved one or something like this, especially with other certain situations outside of the family or even sometimes in the family. You go and a judge overlooks it and listens to the facts. Get your facts. Make sure your facts are correct. Okay? Now, this is going to happen, and this energy is going to go on the 12th. It begins on the 12th. This cycle comes to a completion. You're taking back. You're standing on your ground. And I love the timing on this. I'm not even going to go into that. I'll bypass it, but I'm telling you, it's 444. Don't tell me you ain't got angels here around you. Spiritual angels around protecting you. Wow. Because the cycle's going to end. And this will come into conjunct with this. And by your own authority and by your own actions, you can have success here. Or in some conflict, if you handle it the right way. But it's all doing with what you're thinking and what you say and what is ascending, what is rising, what you're thinking, what you communicate. Communicate the truth. Communicate the facts. Don't go. It's like what was that cop show you many years? Just the facts, ma'am. That's all we want. It's just the facts. As long as you got your facts there, you're going to overcome in this T square. By standing your ground, slowing down, taking your own authority back, and not going along with some other things. If it doesn't feel right, and you know it's not morally right, don't do it. Make sure you deal with if you got to get the law involved, make sure they're morally correct, that they check themselves, that they're ethical. Don't get a dishonest lawyer. Because I've seen those. Been through that the last 7 years, seen them, been up against them. I'm sure everything I may not know, but I'm sure they're not doing so good right now in business. Because all this energy that's still here is conjunct as well. Chiron, Venus, Mercury, and the North Node. And as we can say, Mars is going to come in here, and Mars will be ruling this. Now we have the full moon in Scorpio, which is in your 12th house. Look at this grand cross that we got going on here. I got to bring it up. Yeah. See the grand cross? Sun in opposition. Sun's always in opposition to the moon when there is this full moon. So that's nothing new. But there's something here with the sun, wherever Taurus may be, in your daily routines you're focused on. These two are combined. Whatever there is, there's something that's coming to a close here. Whatever all these T-squares you're seeing here, this cycle is almost completed. Whatever was against you can no longer stand on its own. And how you handle this, if you handle it with faith, and if you stand in your masculine energy and stand your ground and have the faith, you're going to survive this. Now look at Pluto. Pluto's at 2 degrees. It's going to be going retrograde on May the 2nd and moving back into Capricorn. So whatever's going on here, because Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, okay? Remember, this is 15 degrees. Remember, Mercury's going back to 15 degrees. Before it goes stationary and retrograde, or stationary and direct. This is going to have an impact on Saturn. Whatever that leader or whatever their illusion was, or whatever it was, a teacher, a boss, a father figure, or a person of authority. I look at Saturn as authority figures. Their past actions is going to come against them. There's nothing going to save them for what they've done wrong to another human being. It ain't going to hold up. Sorry. They just created their own wounds by their own actions. Family member, father figure, boss, an authority person, whatever it is, their previous actions, while Mars was conjunct with that energy, because there's the opposition, and this energy will leave on the 28th of April. That's why I said that something here is going to get better by the end of the month. Cycles are going to be done. It will be through, finished, completed. The next thing we have is we have on the April the 25th, you can see here Mercury goes stationary. And it's really focused on thinking because the ascending is here, Gemini. And what does Mercury rule? It rules Gemini and it also rules Virgo. This is at 22. That means telling me that something here, you standing your ground, has completed something. The completion is coming soon. Kind of like it's done. Now, we do have a couple of mystical rectangles here, and when I did some research on that, at the time, it's also talking about Lucifer's rectangle. You know, there's always that thing of evil's going to do what it's going to do until it loses, till it finally realizes it can't do anything else. There's going to be a loss there in some way for someone. I don't know who, but if you're ethically correct and morally right and in the right path, and you got the lot of fortune in your first house, that something here at 21 is completeness. And you're going to see something here that, yeah, in your outer life. Because what I'm looking at is the apex on this is the midheaven. And if you have a person of faith and you believe what's going to happen in your outer life, there may be some losses here because of somebody's past actions, because what they tried to do, their heart wasn't right, but you stood your ground. And you told the truth, and you're honest, and you're forthright. You've got good values. You're a good person. And you believe to live a life that we're supposed to live. I live my life in faith. I don't know about y'all, but it has never stirred me wrong in any way. It taught me to have patience. I can tell you that right now. How many of y'all can stand out there and say, and this is going to be on a Thursday, the hour is going to be Mars, 2 degrees, Mars and Pluto rule Scorpio. Mars is the internal ruler. Pluto is the interpersonal, meaning outside of you, you have no control over it, is going to affect something here. That may be a loss of something here, but a gain as well. Because Venus being in a positive sign, even though she's detriment, even though she's weak, even though there's some repressed, something here, I still feel that the combined energy is going to affect the other, something else, not you. If you're a morally correct, right person. But the question I had for you is I wanted to ask you, how many of you guys, stop and think, could go through 7 years of absolutely mortal hell and stand your ground. Don't give up the fight. Don't try to seek vengeance. Live a life of what I cannot control, I have to let go of. And live through it after 7 years. Ask yourself that. Because there's a lot of people who couldn't, who can't. They give up. They just give up. And that's the point. You never give up when you're in the right. Never. You learn to have patience. You learn the lessons from the past. You keep moving forward. The next thing we have is Venus comes into Taurus, where this is very good for her because she rules this house. Now look what's coming up. All this is ascending. The sun's going to be, you can see this is on the horizon. All this energy is going to be over here. And the moon is going to be here in Capricorn in your second house, which deals with resources that you use. There is a salvation here, and there's a freedom, an emotional freedom of something here. And this energy, look at it, it's a trine to this because you stood your ground. You shook something up. You did something here. You learned something. You went through something that shook your foundation down here, maybe in your family life, in your daily routines or whatever. But if you stand there, trines are good. They're opportunity. This is where you're able to show your creative self-expression, and it brings ease and comfort so that it can be missed. So don't miss the opportunities when they're there. Grab them. This will be a good day. Look at it. It's all moon. First hour. There's salvation. There's saving grace here. And Venus is going to be exalted here. And the sun is squaring the midheaven. So as above, so below. Something in your outer life. Down here is your personal life, your private life. This is what is ascending up, and this is what is descending on this side. So we know that the ascending, all this is on the horizon, that's rising up. As this day starts, because it's at 7:31 in the a.m. on the East Coast, so whatever your time is, there is a T-square here because Venus has entered into her house of or her sign of exaltation. The moon is in detriment in Capricorn. It's weak. It's repressed. It's negative. So whoever is trying to control something here about in your life, and if you're still trying to control something here, the actions of whatever, of an illusion or something, let it go. If you can't control it, and the only thing you can control is you and your actions. Don't do something or think to do something here like you would done in the past. You know, it's like you grew up, you learned some lessons, and it's like if you were a person that would let's just say somebody just was with somebody, you were in a relationship with somebody, and whatever was going on, you know, they broke up or they cheated on you or something like that, or they did you wrong. Do not go and key their car or tell lies about them or whatever this is, because it's only going to backfire on the person who's doing it. And that would be the way that they would handle things in their past actions. If they're not learning the lessons, they will learn it. And the only thing you can control is you. You can't control other people and what they do. But you can hold them accountable in a moral way, a legal way, of what they're doing is wrong. And you can tell them, you're wrong. And if they don't agree with it, then you just walk away. I'm not going to stand and argue with anybody anymore. That's simple. But Venus is going to be exalted in this. And look at the stellium of planets that are here. This combination of Jupiter with Uranus is completed and Jupiter's moving on. And Jupiter, by the way, let's look at, because I had this, Jupiter will enter Gemini on May the 25th. And it will go retrograde on October the 9th, which I think is about when we have, yeah, we have another solar eclipse. So, but that will be a angular. And that will be on October the 2nd. But on the 9th, Jupiter will move into, will be going retrograde during that time. So it will go back, it'll go back to, it'll move through Gemini up to 21 degrees when it goes retrograde. So look at, especially when Jupiter enters on the 25th, to what is going on, what you're learning here, what you're thinking, what information you're receiving. Is it real? Is it not real? Because when it goes retrograde at 21 degrees in Gemini, it's going to go back by February the 4th, 2025. It will go back to the 11 degrees. So between the 11 degrees when Jupiter enters, okay, in Gemini, these are important, so you might want to write these dates down. When it hits the 11 degrees in Gemini and it moves to 21 and it goes retrograde, it's going to come back to that 11 degrees. So be aware of when it hits 11 degrees, what's transpiring, the information you're receiving, what's being given, who you're meeting, and these sort of things. And what are you learning about something here? Because when it goes retrograde, you're gonna go back over this expansion or this growth. Be cautious here, especially with who you partner with, maybe friends that you deal with in relationship. Because there may be some conflict when that hits that 11 degrees. And I'm not sure when that is, but we can talk about it then, when it enters. We got to keep an eye on it after May 25th, when it enters Gemini. Or I have to make a note of that to watch it and let you be aware this date to this date. All right, that it's going to come in with this energy and it's going to go back, it'll follow through into next year on the 25th or the 4th of February, where it'll go stationary and go drag. It'll still be in Gemini the whole time. So it's something here to make you consciously aware of something. And knowledge. What information you're getting, what you're receiving. Is it real? Is it not real? Is it the truth? Is it not the truth? Is it valid? Make sure you do your little background checks of what information you're putting out there. Make sure you're telling the truth. Make sure you've got your facts right, or whatever else is coming in. Make sure who you're getting it from. Last thing we got here for the month is when Mars will move into Aries. And that will be on the 30th of April, right there at the end of April. Now, there's no major aspects going on here, but I will bring out the fact that what I'm seeing here, we got 3 planets that are in their house of rulership. We've got Neptune in his house of rulership. We got Venus in her house of rulership. We've got Mars going into Aries, which it rules. So when they go into their house of rulership, their energy is really sort of exalted and it's pure. Almost elevated. And if it's in a positive sign, which Aries would be in a positive sign, there's some sort of positive actions here. Because if you look at the astrology, every one of these signs, like Aries would be positive, Taurus would be negative, Gemini would be, if I've got it right, I'll have to look at those things again. But it's like every other one is positive, every other one is negative. So, but these energies are conjunct. We got Mercury conjunct with Chiron. We got the midheaven, which is something here in your outer life that is about the future, affecting the future. Which, you know, the only thing I can see here with Leo and what's there is having to deal with the sun. Being focused on something here of information you may be receiving and how it makes you feel. Is it real or is it not real? Or what do you think about it? You may even get people come up and say, well, how do you feel about this? Well, be honest with them. And the moon is going to be at 0 and Mars is going to be at 0. So there's something here that's trying to activate. We know that Pluto's going to be going retrograde on the 22nd. So, I mean, on May the 2nd. So it can be in that shadow period when it's going back into, it's ready to start moving back and finish up, because it's going to go at 29 degrees in Capricorn and it's going to set right there. It's not going to go any further into Capricorn. And then it's going to depart, and that's going to be it. It will not go back into Capricorn for another 248, 250 years. Okay? Won't happen again in your lifetime or mine. We see that. We're going through experiencing. We are in an era of time that are living now, that are seeing things that they will not see for at least 2.5 generations. Those that'll be born 2.5 generations from now, or 4 generations, 3.5 to 4 generations, before they experience it. Okay? So anyway, that's what I've got for y'all. Sorry, I will edit this video, and I will put a link at the end of this video with the introduction to astrology, which just kind of gives you a basics there, because a lot of people say, I like the astrology, but I don't understand it. So that can help. So you really need your birth chart. Really. It's really important that you have your birth charts, because whatever the planets and where they're at in that time, this time now, moving forward, what is it gonna, where was it at the time of your birth? You want to know where all these planets were at the time of your birth. And this is going to be a really important day for any babies that are born today with this solar eclipse. Because they'll experience something 20 years from now when they're, 20 years older. They'll just be in young adulthood then, when it'll happen again in the United States. Any babies that are born in the United States at this time, they will experience something here. So I hope it's better than what it was for me. That's all I can say on that one. So anyway, y'all take care, and I will have that up, and I will edit this video, cut out any unnecessarities, so when you come back, I have to wait till YouTube finish processing it. Then I can go back and edit it. It'll make it a little bit shorter, maybe, and also cut out a lot of stuff that's not needed. And you can have it, and you'll have the dates to go back and refer to, okay? And it will be in the April 2024 playlist. You can go in there and see. So whatever your sun sign is, if you're a sun Sagittarius, go look at your ascending. And you can also go look at your moon. That's, what you feel, what's your emotions. It's how you express your purpose in everyday activities. As the moon transits through these houses and signs. Okay? How it affects you. How it affects how you feel. All right? So y'all take care, and that's me. That's the end for me. All right? Bye for now.